Welcome back to the Halo Infinite Grifball podcast. It's NOPLEX here. I'm back with the postseason playoffs edition, and I'm here with Mav the Magnificent. How you doing today?
Hello. Pretty good.
Oh, good. Glad to hear it. And also, our special guest for this episode is NecessaryEvil10, former captain of First Strike in AGLA and longtime captain of Sergeant Squad in the GGL. Uh, how are you doing today, man?
Not too bad. How you guys doing?
Oh, pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
So, let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. The first thing I got here is discussion about the ups and downs of our respective seasons, because I know all three of us have had quite the roller coaster. So, I guess I can just go ahead and start there. Obviously, my team started off in controversy with the whole deluxe low main scandal, and we were doing pretty great until about mid-season. We sort of, after the last podcast, we sort of hit a slump, I guess you could say. 4-game losing streak, and then towards the end of the season, we started getting our groove back. Trespass was playing more and showing up to our games. He played really well, and we finished the season strong. So it was definitely some ups and downs of the season, but here we are going in the playoffs. So
I mean, well, you're the fourth seed, right?
yes,
Uh,
yes, fourth seed. We're playing Shrek first round.
Gonna be a good series.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, Ace and Zim are really gonna have to carry. Kidding, but
Well, Ace carries everyone, so there should be
I
no
was gonna
problem
say
there.
Ace does carry everyone, so like I guess no matter what, he's gonna carry you.
Yeah.
For looking at all the playoff
Got a very
matchups.
large backpack.
Yes. I think that's definitely true. We got top players on our team, but it's also up to the I guess we have two fourths on our team, sort of to kind of fill things out and give a little bit what's needed here and there. Just gotta focus and play smart and do what we can to keep heat off of those two. So, did you want to go into your team for this season, Mav? Because it's been a crazy one
A
for
roller
y'all.
coaster.
Yeah, because basically right after the last podcast, y'all just picked it up, and literally we played y'all in a game to start our losing streak, and you didn't even look like the same team that we played earlier in the season. Completely
Yeah,
different.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say the big change was I swapped from running to tanking, and we sort of just did, like won games. I mean, I wouldn't say there's like anything like said besides for me telling, giving the ball to D-Click and telling him not to do anything stupid, and just me tanking and us sort of winning games. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing because it's like I don't think much has changed. We just won. I also think we played the harder teams to begin the season, which didn't help us a whole lot as we're just sort of getting rolled. And we also sort of realized that we're not really a team that starts off well, but we really figure shit out towards the end. I think the majority of like our goals are just like pure defensive plays more than actually us tanking anything. Because I mean, realistically, I'm the only real tank on our team, so I mean, I have to do the majority of the lifting there. And unfortunately, since I don't have a crazy amount of help all the time, we can sometimes fold in that regard. But I don't know. We just figured things out. We're more a defensive team than an offensive team, if that makes sense.
I would agree with what you said. About you guys being more of a defensive team. That's definitely in this, especially in the second game that we played in against you guys. You guys are really good defensively, and that's what kind of made us crumble.
And me doing that really weird fucking punch goal where I
Yeah,
lunged someone and I
hey,
got the
that was
bomb.
me. That was
Oh, it
me.
was you?
Yeah, you lunged me. Like from my perspective, I swear you lunged like right behind my tank as they were like covering me from my left, and I just turn and you're just lunging on me from such a far distance because I thought I had passed away from you far enough.
Yeah, all I know is with the second game that we played Angry Duck Noises, it's just you just seemed much more annoying to play against. It's like you said, you didn't really change anything up except for who was running and you could lead tank, but it's just you didn't even it seemed like the mistakes were lessened. You weren't making as many mistakes. It was impossible to get the fucking ball back from y'all. So it definitely felt like playing against a different team.
Surely one of the most annoying teams ever.
Yeah, and being able to change it up mid-game too, because you did that to us a few times in the game where you beat us, where like you would be tanking and then all of a sudden you'd swap off and you'd take over with the ball and you just start punching everybody.
I
Yeah,
mean, to be fair, I did have I not to my own horn, I did win best runner last season, so you know, that is definitely my repertoire to get all those punches if necessary. Obviously, I can be a bit stupid sometimes, but it all evens itself out.
yeah, honestly, you got to be a little crazy to be a good runner anyway. So I just think it's a good skill set to have. Say if you're tanking your runner in, if you were tanking for some for that push, and you betray or they get killed or something, and the ball's right there. I mean, you're already good at running and getting punches. It's pretty easy for you to naturally just scoop the ball up, get one punch, and score if you need to. There's not really much panic there. But yeah, so Evil, did you want to go into talking about y'all season because it was about as dramatic and roller coaster like as Mav's team was, with the
Oh
down and the
man,
up and the down and the up.
yeah, for sure. We started the season off. I mean, we didn't start off too bad. The first week we only played 3 games, but we started 2-1, and then things went downhill after that because we played. Who was it? Played Death first, and he had Hell's Angel subbing for Chemical both games, and Hell's Angel just for some reason just walked right through us both games. And then the following game we get 5-0'd by A Spence. So that's all that's a 3-game losing streak. And then the next pair of games, which I believe was a Friday, we ended up playing Dylan's team, and they had Grunt sub for Diablo. I believe Diablo's their fourth.
I think so. I can look. Yes.
Okay, so I was right.
Pretty big
Yeah,
upgrade.
so they had Grunt for Diablo, and Grunt for the most part carried them through both of their games with us. So it was just really like just a frustrating week of games where you ended up being 2-7, and we ended up going through with we went sat back, watched some film, you know, um, actually went through and adjusted our game plan for going into games because like we had so many games like in a small time span, we didn't really adjust anything going through those games. But we came out the other side with some adjustments, especially our tip offs, because our tip offs were absolutely atrocious. Like we gave up at least like 4 or 5 pro runs over that span, and can't really do that if you want to win games.
It's
So
yeah, it really sucks when you work really hard and grind out for a goal. You spend in a 10-minute round to grind in a tank in finally after a bunch of possession changes and all that just to give up a pro run the next round in 10 seconds. It can really deflate all and any momentum that you have.
yeah, and I feel like that the tip offs were our biggest weakness because like when we can like break the momentum of the tip off and get into the game, our team is actually really strong. We're able to tank rather well, especially when Fancy is doing his thing. Um, TJ is an absolute playmaker, in my opinion. Like the stuff I've seen him do with the grapple and the repulsor flowering that he did, especially at the end of the season, was absolutely ridiculous. It's like he'd just be up there or be a distraction, or he'd even come down on two people in the spawn, like unsuspecting, late in the season. So that was some really cool stuff. And Ray is an absolute monster of a tank. Like I know he died a lot too, but like he got he was getting so many multi kills for us. He was actually the second best tank, at least most consistent tank that we had for sure. Um, but yeah, we we fixed the tip off issue, and I started running pretty much exclusively to allow them to do their thing, to allow Fancy be the main tank, TJ um, roam around and do his thing, try to disrupt the other team, and Ray was like the support to Fancy and myself. I believe we ended up playing NOPLEX. We ended up playing against Postgriff, and finally ended up having a really good game and pulled out a win, and got a few more after that. Pulled in close to 500 coming into the last week, and ran into some unfortunate games with Shrek.
And us. You played us
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, at the time, guys were absolute powerhouses of teams, just absolutely walked through us. And unfortunately, the biggest losses in the last week were we took a loss to Paradox in game 2, or game 1 rather. Got it together for game 2 and won that game, and then played Genji and ended up losing to Genji's team. We were up 3-1 in that game and ended up losing 5-3.
I subbed in that game as their first round.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
That was a wild one for sure. That last week was just crazy. It sucks that some people have to miss out on playoffs so other people can make it, but it was just such a close race there at the last week. Even the last couple of days, had seen people update the rankings and the standings when games were being played. Just looking at it, it was a pretty intense night trying to keep up with everything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was kind of wild watching Genji and Novice's teams just shoot up the standings.
No doubt, but I still say you drafted a good team, and you definitely had a chance to eke into playoffs there. You're literally in it until the end, until the last couple of days. So.
Oh yeah, we just had a couple disappointing games when we didn't need them.
Didn't I help draft your team? I feel like I messaged you about that.
That's funny because I actually talked to both of you about drafting.
Yeah, we both helped him, I think.
Because I think I sent you one of my mock drafts because like I'd been like doing mock drafts for all the captains and I sent them to almost all of them.
Yeah, I think I told him to ask you about it, about mock drafts and stuff, and I was giving him some options, you know. Another option I laid out for him was you, Mav. You know, I asked him, I said, do you want, for sure tank or you want for sure hybrid / runner? So he had both the options there and some others. But I guess we'll move along in the itinerary that we have here. Next thing I got is thanking Didge again for fixing stats, and a big shout out to him for the automated stuff he does to help out with late league, and Skullin also help with stats too. So big shout out to him. But I guess the biggest thing in there is the 2 L's right there. Pop Tart bringing back late league. What a legend.
first time we've actually had Late League, I think, in 2 years. I'd have to check, but I think the last time I was played was like late August 2022, and it'd been, what, 18 months? Like almost a year. I mean, Late League pretty much carried the community for a few years.
Yeah, it's just really nice to have something to do or something to sign up for and play in the off season whenever there's nothing going on, and to have it automated where you don't have to have a host now because of dedicated servers. All you need is just 8 players, and then it sets the lobbies up like it's supposed to, and then you just play games. I think it's really good to have.
Yeah, hopefully it stays around.
Hopefully. I mean, you never know, but hopefully with like Grifball seeming to be a bit more popular these days than it has in the past year, I would say. Obviously, I think there's people trying to get a lobby right now as we speak. I think there's probably been a lobby every day, or like almost every day since Pop-Tart brought it back.
I mean, hell, didn't y'all have a lobby going from at like 11 a.m. or some shit the other day? It was like 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Somebody
Yeah,
did.
HA wanted to play, and they got a lobby really early in the day, which is, I mean, I think yesterday was Memorial Day, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so that explains it, because I think that's the whole, like, since everyone has work off, pretty sure that's the whole reason they got a lobby, but, it's still good to see people willing to play so early in the day.
It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Something like that.
Not quite as legendary as Coffee Customs, but maybe one day we'll be back there. But yeah, the
I'm always up that early.
next thing I got here is we'll just go right into the final standings, and like I said, we'll go back to some of the stuff Evil was talking about. I don't know why I almost called you Eagle, because it was quite the last week. I mean, not even just week, the last few days. Like you said, watching people just shoot up the standings and things change so much. It was wild. I actually don't have all the standings up. I have some other
I
stuff
have
written
them if
down.
you want me to.
I figured you'd be my savior. So
So do you just want me to go through like the top 8 whoever made playoffs, or do you want me to go through the entire?
we could just do top 8. That's fine.
Okay, so number 1 you have Crazy Guys, which is Ace Spence's team, who is 17-5. They're the number. Okay, so I think they're technically the number 2 seed, but I think that's by choice.
Yes.
Then you have Skill Diff, which is 16-6, who is technically number 1, but second. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess, but
Right.
they're the first seed, but they have a worse record than Ace Spence's team, Crazy Guys. Then you have, oh god, Puffy Griff Pussy, which is 15-7, who is the third seed. Then you have Post Griff Depression, which is NOPLEX's team. They are 15-7 as well, tied with Infection's team. I'm not saying that damn name again. Then you have Get Shrek'd, which is Shrek's team, but if you couldn't tell by the name, who is 13-9, and they're the 5th seed, I think.
Yeah.
Then you have my team, who is Angry Duck Noises. I didn't pick the name. We're 11-11, so we're 500. We're the 6th seed. Then you have Buff Oily Men and Women, whoever picked that name, which is Novices and Command's team. They're 9-13. They're the 7th seed. Then you have Operation Doomsday, which is Death's team, who is 9-13 as well.
Your team name should have definitely been Quit Fucking Betraying Me. That should have been a legacy team that never died. Great team
I
name.
came up with that one.
It's true for this game, especially. But
yeah, because everyone betrays each other.
Yeah, let's we can just go back up to the top and just talk a little bit about Crazy Guys. I thought this was going to be a top team, or definitely a top 5 team in preseason. They just seemed to even right off the rip have a very rounded roster. They were surprised that Grunt was able to drop that far in the draft, and they were able to get him as a 4th. And obviously, Ace Spence is a top 1 or 2 player, depending on who you ask. He does everything and more. Tommy's just a super good game manager, and Grunt just doesn't die. You walk forward, you die. You walk back,
I still don't
he
know
walks
how he fell
back.
that far.
He's really good, and Smurf has played really well. He's gotten adjusted to the game, and they have really good chemistry and teamwork, and they're just an annoying team to play against. Obviously, any good team is, but you know.
Yeah, I played against them early. That's when we beat them 5-4, and then we played them a week later, and they 5-0'd us. Uh, that second game, they were a completely different team, and Ace Spence definitely felt like he took it upon himself to make sure that they didn't lose many more games.
Yeah, I played them. I think like the first week of the season, we got 5-0'd. Obviously, we hadn't really played well with each other, so hopefully, if we ever play them again, it'll be better. But they're definitely a team that's a monster.
And they're on your side of the playoff bracket.
Yeah.
I
Hopefully,
guess,
we don't get 5-0'd.
like I said, you're a different team than when you were earlier in the
Week
season.
one.
I feel like D-Cleek kind of got warmed up and started figuring stuff out a little more. I know he didn't play a whole lot last season, and this season I know he was frustrated towards the beginning, but he seemed like his old self the last game I played. I couldn't kill him or fucking Gambit, Wimpy Deer, whatever his name is. But I guess we can go on to Katie's team, Skill Diff. I don't really see a big shock that she wanted to pick Sab first, even though he didn't play last season. Sab's just one of those players. He's worth taking a gamble on. Mungo's a safe pick because he's just probably one of the most clutch players that's played in Halo 4, Halo 5, and on. His stats don't show it, but he's a big time player. He really gets kills. And Listless DK rounds out their team very well. His stats also don't show it, but that dude kicks my ass. I'm just gonna flat out say it. I've said it every other podcast. Played against him the other day, same fucking shit.
Kicked your ass.
He's been kicking my ass all season. I swear. Definitely a good player. They are a good, well-rounded team. They play really well and smart. They keep the ball. KD's good with the flick punches like you are, Mav, and they're just good with passing, throwing it back.
I would definitely say they're the best passing team by far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting since they got flipped to the other side of the bracket, since Crazy Guys was the first seed, and they have the option to pick which side of the bracket they want for being the first seed. So you got to earn it to burn it. But they got switched to the other side of the bracket, but I still think they could string together some wins and make a run deeper into the playoffs.
They're at the top, right? Not the bottom bracket. Yeah, here they are. They play Death's team, like.
Yeah, they
I'd
got
say
Doomsday.
I was gonna say so Doomsday / Death's team. I mean, that's gonna be an interesting matchup because I feel like if Solus really plays well, then that series could actually be really competitive. I feel like it also depends on like chemicals, just because it's Sab. Sab's not maybe like the craziest tank in the world, but he's just like consistently really good. So I think it's overall just gonna be a good playoff series.
That's the right side of the bracket. They weren't already swapped. That's the right one because they did
Yeah,
swap
okay,
bracket.
so yeah, because this is the top bracket they're on now.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, that's probably the toughest matchup to call. If you want to predict it.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that. We'll be getting that when we get to the playoff bracket. Will kind of tie into the next segment anyway. So, and then further up, who finished third is Puffy Griffbussy, who I also got Infection to pay me $100 for every time I got Mav to say it. Sadly, he only said it once and wouldn't say it twice.
I'm not
but
saying again.
I know, it's fine. But definitely a very well drafted team. Some controversy there in the recent weeks, and we'll get to that later. But Infection kind of drafted exactly who I thought he would. Really, a passive tank, smart player. Why not go for a super aggressive, kill hungry tank like Spank is? I mean, Spank is the multi-kill god. He can wipe an enemy team by himself if he gets to the other side. Sometimes he's a big multi-kill threat. You got Hell's Angels, who's probably the steal of the draft. The pure runner, who's got the most goals this season, and just a really good player on both ends. And Aware is just having the season of his fucking life somehow. What did he do in the off season? We need to find out.
I want what he was on, like his steroid program, because he, not gonna say he played bad season, but like for EU he played well last season. And I mean, if we go look at his stats, I'll pull him up here. I mean, like 1,700 kills for like an EU is nuts. That's like good. Obviously, he subbed a lot of games, but like only going, neg 136 for like an EU is pretty good. Like that's a respectable season for pretty much any player.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't realize he put up that many kills.
Hold on, I can. Let's see what his player grid was. I think he was. So he ended up being a C minus now at the end of the season, but I think at one point he was like a B, which is in like pretty good regardless of EU or not. I guess you could say it's more impressive that like he was that high of like a grade despite having like connection issues.
Yeah, to play like that and being across the pond, that's insane. Damn near unheard of. But yeah, he's had quite the glow up from last season. With how the season's gone, they obviously every team will be one to watch in the playoffs, but them particularly, it's just that they just have a lot of tanking power. And then finished fourth would be my team, Post Grip Depression, aka Ace's Backpack, featuring Zim and some scrub named NOPLEX. Oh yeah, Trespass is there too. But yeah,
Forgot
we
about this.
yeah, I really don't even know why we started losing when we did, and I don't really even know why we started winning again when we did. Maybe just little things like spacing and stuff like that.
Sometimes shit just happens.
Getting the key kills when you need them instead of just getting trash kills on open space. I don't know, but we definitely finished the season pretty strong, and we're going into playoffs to take on Shrek in the first round. And Shrek was on the team that knocked me out first round in the playoffs last season whenever I was on Spence's team. So I knew I was going to have him in the first round this time again, probably. But I've got some high hopes for us.
I mean, I think you'll do pretty well. I mean, like it's going to be a difficult matchup. Obviously, anyone who's in the playoffs is a hard team to play, but I think you'll probably win.
Yeah, that's a tough call. So that's Shrek and Snipes is a
Good
really
combo.
good duo.
Yeah.
And Cosmos on top of it.
Yeah, I feel like our teams match up pretty well as far as like if you want to go by grade disparity. Our team, their team, and also Ace Spence's team because they kind of have the double S's going, and we got the double S's going with uh, Ace and Zim, and they have Shrek and Snipe. But they definitely have probably the letter grade advantage with Cosmos. He's played a lot and has been really solid, but we have me, and I just feel like I break the grading system. The way I play just immediately tanks my grade. I feel like I play like at least a C-ish, I guess you could say. Sometimes closer to a B minus, but I don't know.
Where did you end the season on?
I'm E.
Whoa.
Yeah, I dropped
I
down
guess
to
to
the
be
E.
fair, it's like if you're a passive player, so you won't have like the per minute stats quite like someone like Ace or Ace Spence who
Right.
like constantly get killed all the time. So that makes sense. You do kind of break the mold of the rating system.
Yeah.
Because let me see if I can find you.
Yeah, and I think, like I said earlier, Trespasses came back and played really well. He's really stepped it up. He was pretty. He was lacking some confidence earlier in the season when we played in the rush and some other games early on after the deluxe ban. But like I said, I give him props. I give him a shout out. He didn't play much last season, and he's come on and asked to be a fourth out of nowhere when he didn't think he was going to play, and he's come in and played some really good games.
I mean, definitely improvement from last season because last season he did not play very well at all. To be fair, his team wasn't very good, so you could put some stock into that as well. Overall, he's just better from last season, which is a positive.
And he seemed to improve even more as he played too.
And then while we were talking about that, basically the number 5 seed was what we were just talking about. Shrek's team with the Shrekening. This guy's made leaps and bounds since last season. hit the ground running last season as a fourth, coming in late because people quit, specifically Sco. But yeah, what else is new? Um, but yeah, he definitely picked way too early in the draft with how well he's playing now. That dude should have picked last.
Yeah, massive improvement from last season. He went from being, I think, like a B
Yeah.
minus maybe. I don't have the stat like the last season stats pulled up on me, but like he went from like being a B player to being an S, which is a massive improvement in 2 months' time. I'd say since like the time gap between this season and last season.
Yeah, playing him up to the start of the season, I thought he was going to be like an A, but he seemed to get even better as the season started and progressed.
Yeah, I didn't expect him. I figured he would be like a B to an A. I didn't expect him to be an S. Obviously, he does have Snipes, so that Snipes is one of the best tanks in the game. It's like I didn't expect him to be like this good, but I did still expect him to be good regardless.
I feel like that allows Shrek more freedom to run or tank, so he can just get all the numbers.
Yeah, one thing they do definitely struggle with is, since Rec has to sort of run these days now, he would his team can struggle tanking sometimes, which can happen, with every team. Obviously, you can have your ups and downs, but it definitely hurts them having him run instead of tanking, and hopefully, TCT, or I think that's who he used to run. I didn't ask, but like hopefully they can figure out that situation and get it to be better, so like they can be better suited to playoffs.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I feel like that's who they give the ball to.
Yeah, they spread it out between Shrek, Avenger, and Cosmos. I've seen Cosmos run it too, but I think when they start to lose the ball and they can't keep possession, it defaults to Shrek. He wants to get the ball and run it, and then they have Avenger flank whenever he's running.
Hopefully they can build up some more confidence and skill over. I don't know when playoffs start, because it changed from being Thursday to being whenever they get scheduled. So like hopefully in this time span that they play, they can figure their shit out.
And number 6, that was. Did you say that was Angry Duck Noises?
It is my team, surprisingly.
Uh, Again, just a wild story for the season. Starting out not so hot, and then just literally making a
Winning.
charge at the end of the season, and it just crazy. Just definitely like thought y'all had us in the first half. Not gonna lie, type of meme. He was pretty smart in drafting you. I mean, if you were left on the board and the other people that were left on the board with what everyone knew at that time, I mean, drafting you was smart. Drafting D-Click is really smart. Having him left over in the second round. And I said it before, Gambit is just another one of those role players. He's really good for morale, and he's will soak up the deaths for you and all that. Maybe
I was
make you
gonna say
laugh.
he doesn't die more than all of us.
Yeah, somebody's got to be there like me to soak up the deaths. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. But you really do have a solid team. I mean, y'all are. I feel y'all are one of the more well-rounded teams. Jester's been playing a lot better than the beginning of the season too.
I was gonna say, because from it's like, to me, I don't know, maybe it's just me, since I play on the team, like I haven't noticed like anything crazy. But I mean, I would say we're still like the same team in a way. Just I don't run much anymore. It's Steekly's job, and maybe it's because I'm tanking now that things are just going so well and we're winning so many games, or maybe it's just like we had a difficult schedule to start the season with. Combination of things, really. Good to start like getting put into place, and we started winning. That's about all.
Yeah, I think you're a better tank than you give yourself credit for.
I mean, I'm a passive tank, so I guess my permanent stats might not. I don't know. Hold on, let me look. Or player crits around here somewhere. Like since I'm a passive player, tanking wise, I might not have like the best per minute like tanking stats. So I guess when it comes to that regard, I'm maybe not one of the top caliber tanks, but I'm still good regardless. Sort of like Sab in a way, where like Sab might not go plus 60, but he'll still go like plus 10, and have like maybe the most kills in the game.
Yeah, a survivor tank.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they wait for you to mess up and then they take advantage and kill you. They just, yeah.
Yeah, your only permanent stat below an A is multi-kills per minute.
Probably like a B.
Yeah, it's a
If I-
B.
Yeah, it figures. Because I think I'm like an A plus in doubles, and I think I'm like an A or an A plus in triples, and I think I have an A in multi kills. Or not multi kills.
A plus in doubles, A in triples, A in kills per minute.
Okay, so okay, a bit better than I thought it'd be. I thought it was worse in those grades than I was, to be honest with you.
S minus in KD per minute.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm like an S plus in like sprees and punches.
Yeah, S plus in punches, S in sprees.
Yeah, you were a
And
good
A
two-way
plus in
player
goals.
even last season. I mean, you were always really strong off ball whenever you weren't running.
As I say, to be fair, I'm doing a lot more this season than I had to last season, so I think my grade is higher than last season because I'm being asked to do much more than I was. Because I think last season I finished as like an A, and now I'm an S. Or I think I was an S plus for a period of time, but yeah, so I'm an S at the moment.
And we figured out that that's called SMAV tier. Because you're the only
Oh,
S
God.
tier player that we can't do an S spin, so it's SMAV tier. Sorry,
Am I
that's
the
all we
only
got.
S name player?
Yep, you're the only one that doesn't have an S spin. Because there's Shrek tier, Silent tier, Solnado tier, Spence tier, Snipe tier, Spank tier. I think that's the other 6 S tiers.
If you want to be good at Grifball, just have a name that begins with S, because all the S players
You got
have
it.
an S name except for me. I'm the outlier, I guess.
Nope, you're SMAV now, and I'm Soplex.
Oh, God.
Alright, next we got buff oily men and women who, first pick in the draft, picked Novice. Command Station did, but she hasn't played many games. Essentially, Novice has had Sev as his most reliable teammate that he's played with a lot. I know Aware has subbed a lot for them too, and Zilly, when he shows up, has played really well. But I know he hasn't played in a lot of games and hasn't been very consistent. But even still, they good God, how many games did they play in a 2-day period?
I think they played like 6 or 7, because all I remember is just like looking at the captain's chart every like hour and seeing like a new game they've played. I was like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, there was so many games that night.
I'm trying to see how many they played. I think it was like, I think it has to be like they played like 6 games in one night. If I can find it somewhere around here.
Yeah, I know I subbed for 3 of those games. I subbed for 1, and then it was a little later on, and they ended up just needing me to come back just so they could get. I think it was against Death. They played 2 games against Operation Doomsday, and they just wanted somebody to come fill, and I was like, oh, it's a game and not a custom. Okay, I'll get on.
Yeah, so they played 6 games in one night, which is like an insane amount. Like playing 2 games, I'd say is a decent amount, but playing 6 is an absurd. Especially having the time to play all of them.
Yeah, was that the same night that I believe Genji played a bunch of his games too?
I think so.
Yeah, I subbed in for him as well, but I think either way, with Novice sneaking in the playoffs like that, if Zilly shows up and plays, and
I
they
thought he
get
quit. I might be wrong about that.
he rejoined the server today. He
Oh,
said he
okay.
thought it was over. He's Kuanik, the guy that joined.
Oh.
That's one of his Discord tags.
I feel like he's joined the server like 4 times now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll have to use a sub, but if they get a sub they like and play well, I mean they could just as contend because they have kind of like the double strong player when Novice is there, which he always is. Well, I mean if Zilly is there, Novice always plays very well, but if Zilly plays well, then they kind of have their 2 tanks that they can work off of.
Hopefully he plays, because obviously we all want more competitive, like, postseason. You don't want to sort of just have to sub in like every teammate like Novice has sort of had to do for the season.
Yeah, I'm sure if he does have to sub in, Zilly, he'll probably ask Zim or Hells or someone like that.
One of the better second round players.
Right. And then the final spot for the regular season, we had Operation Doomsday, which their team kind of had a slower start to the season because I know Chemical wasn't around to play as many games. So they kind of had a later heavy regular season where they had to play more games later. Death, I think, has proven to everybody that he's the real deal as a captain. Last season, yeah, call it a fluke, whatever. They made it to the ship with a really good team. Yeah, one time it can happen. Twice though, he's drafted a pretty solid team this season, and now he's made playoffs for the second time. Solace has played. Solace is playing in his first season, and he figured the game out. I'm not sure when he did. It seemed like it was pretty early on. He started to figure things out, and he's always been a dominant player. He
No
gets
matter what game he plays.
Yeah, he gets kills in space. He understands defense very well. He definitely knows swing timing, reload range, and all that. He's battled terrible connections in the past, so he's really good at that. Chemical was a very good pick, and yeah, he's played really well as a kind of an off tank. And you can't go wrong with Doorstopper as your fourth. He's just one of us
Good
role
store.
players. Yeah, one of us role players that soaks up the deaths or gives you a goal here, a carry kill there, stuff like that. You need that.
A well-rounded team, if I say so.
Yeah, Solace is really solid. I played with him in Halo 4. I did the bid league, and I had him on my team with Nanadel. If you remember Nanadel, NOPLEX.
Yeah.
And that team was actually pretty solid, but ended up having our own struggles back then too. Solace always reminded me of Sab in Halo 4.
Yeah, that's a pretty good comparison, I'll say. But
I wasn't really around then to see them play, so I can't say anything about that.
yeah, I just think I think I can kind of see it. Sort of the same play style we're talking about earlier, where they're not just an aggressive tank that rushes big KD per minute. More about surviving and just getting one kill here, pushing up, getting a kill, pushing up, that sort of thing. Just being more annoying than anything.
Yeah, I feel like they're both very intelligent players that understand defense, the passing game. They can usually anticipate other teams' movements and shut them off before they get a chance to make a move.
All
I
right.
believe that's everyone, right?
Yep, we got that all rounded out. So I guess we can move on to the playoff bracket and our predictions. So I guess if you want to read off the matchups, and then we can just go through it one by one.
Do you want me to go through top down or bottom down?
It's up to you. Surprise me.
I guess we'll go top down. So first matchup, like we said earlier, is Skill Diff, which is KD's team. And we have Operation Doomsday, which is the team we just talked about. That's Death's team. I'm gonna say I think this is the 3-game series.
Yes.
Or no? Okay, so I'll say Skill Diff wins the first one. I feel like Death's team sneaks in the second game, but I think Skill Diff wins in the end.
Yeah. I have Skill Diff 2-0 over Operations Doomsday, but it's not like it seems. I don't think it'll be like a 5-1, 5-0 type of deal. I think it'll be two tight 5-4, 5-3 games that could have gone either way. I do think it'll be a pretty good close matchup, but the intangibles and team chemistry that Skill Diff have with KD and Sab and Mungo, it's Listless too, and he fits right into them because they have such good chemistry. I just feel like that's
passing will definitely help.
Right. That's what I mean. It's going to give them the edge on the little things like a ball turnover, an interception, a deflection, a pass play. Just little things like that. I think that's what's going to help give them the edge in the big plays, the lucky plays, that is. So yeah, I got Skill Diff 2-0.
Yeah, this is a coin toss for me. I mean, if both teams are playing at their best, I still think it's Skill Diff in 2-0. I think Sab's just really good, and the chemistry between Mungo and KD is evident when you see them play, and the way Sab fits in with them too.
I do want to move on to the next one, which is
Sure.
post-Rift Depression. So NOPLEX and Shrek's team, almost called NOPLEX Xbox for a second. I don't know why I'm going
No
crazy.
Shrek. Yeah, this is obviously I have some insight about my team since I'm on it, but with our games that we played against Shrek this season, we've played them twice, obviously like everybody else. The first game we played, and this was already when we had Trespass and not Demar. The first game we played, we were winning 4-0. Had a nasty double pass to score for 3-0. 4-0. They were completely deflated, had no momentum at all. They came back and tied up the game 4-4, and then we eked out a 5-4 win. Second game, same thing, up 3-0. They come back 3-3, and then we won 5-3. So each time we played them, we've started off strong. They dug in their heels, came back, figured something out, and kind of clawed in it. So really, it's definitely a tough call. It's going to be a hell of a series. It's probably going to be a 3-game series, but I'm not, I'd be stupid to go against my team. I take us 2-1 over Get Shrek.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have sort of the same idea as you. I'm gonna say they actually win game one. I'm gonna say it's a 5-4 game. I think they sneak it out, but I think you guys figured out the rest and just win the next 2 games. I think it's gonna be like an incredibly close series, and I wouldn't be surprised if like every game goes to 5-4. Ace's backpack is definitely going to get much bigger and deeper.
Yeah, that series is definitely going 3 games. I agree with what you were saying, Mav. I think Shrek's team wins game 1, and then Postgriff gets better as they play. So I think they take game 2 and 3.
I guess we can move on to the next one, which is Infection's team and my team, which here's the thing. So I think we can definitely win this because I have a history of winning things I shouldn't. I think it's just a matter of us getting the ball and being smart with it and not fucking it up and hopefully getting some timely turnovers. So I think I'm not gonna go against my team. So I'll say we win like a 3-game series, but it's up to you guys. What do you guys think?
Well, I think your teams match up pretty well, even though there's some players that are a little out of place. Uh, I would say, obviously, your first round pick and their first round pick vary a lot. Spank is pure tank. I'm not gonna say you're pure runner. You're a very good 2-way player. So you both have that going for you, a power player. And you have a D Clique and Hell's Angels on opposite sides. Hell's has been a huge surprise, but as a pure runner, scoring all the goals for their team and just playing very well. D Clique, on the other hand, he's sort of a similar type of player. He's not going to be a pure productive goal scorer like that, but he can score goals and he knows how to run. I know he's picked it up a little bit. I would say as far as rosters go, all the way down even to the fourth, they probably have a slight advantage over you if you go by every spot and average it out. But I don't know. It's really tough to say. Probably a 3-game series, but I think I'm going to go Puffy Griff Bussy 2-0.
Do I get paid every time you say it?
So sort of like the first series I talked about. Again, I feel like it ain't gonna be a blowout 2-0 series. It ain't gonna be 5-0 5-0 or anything like that. I think it's gonna be a grind. It's gonna be 2 5-3s or 5-3 and a 5-4. I think it's definitely gonna be good games to watch. But yeah, I've got Puffy G 2-0.
Yeah, I think you guys could sneak one out for sure. Because you guys get better. You guys got better in the second game that you played against us. So I feel like you guys could potentially sneak it out in a 3-game series, but I'd have to give it to Puffy in 3 games. But I do say you get one for sure.
I could take that. The next series we go to is Crazy Guys versus Buff Oily Men. I think this is a clean sweep. I think Ace Spence's team probably wins both games. I'll say probably 5-2 both games.
Yeah, that's a pretty good assessment, and it's Buff Oiley men and women, by the way, in parentheses. But yeah, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Just considering how much chemistry and how well they play together with crazy guys, as opposed to Buff Oiley men and women who don't really have that cohesion all season. I mean, they'll definitely be a dark horse pick for some people. I think that they might think they'll can get a series win or sneak a game in there, but I kind of agree. I think it's going to be crazy guys 2-0.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Crazy guys is way too good for that team right now.
I never think they score some goals, but I think in the end it's just that tanking line, Ace Spence being so good. I think it just eventually they just blow them out.
So
Yeah,
then,
Ace Spence will put him in his backpack if he has to.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
oh yeah, he's got more than just space in that backpack. He definitely got some pre-workout in there too. He's always ready for the game. So with the wins progressing like we predicted, that would mean skill diff against post griff depression, and then on the other side that'd be puffy griff bussy, you love me infection, against crazy guys. So skill diff and post griff depression. We played them twice this season, and the first game was a 5-0. The second game I couldn't play because I had a family emergency, and I forget who subbed for me, but we lost that game. So it's really hard to say. I feel like we've scrimmed very well against them. I don't know if we just match up really good against them, or if it's just the HB silent effect, or if it's always that. But I say we take skill diff in 3 games.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's both games will be really close. But I think just Ace is the better player, and he just sort of takes over and just not destroys. That's not the right word, but like I don't know. I can't think of the right word for this, but I think just him being there, the Ace effect, just helps so much. I think guys win in 3, but I think each game's probably a 5-3 to a 5-4.
It's tough. I'd have to go with post griff depression in 3 games, and it'll be close.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think Zim should get a lot more credit on my team. A lot of people say, yeah, you have Ace, you're getting carried by Ace, but we've already said before that everybody gets carried by Ace. But Zim also subbed in a ton of games. I think he has the most games played out of anybody, and he's only played 22 with Ace, and the rest of them are 16 other games. That's damn near a whole new season, and he's played all those extra games while maintaining an S. I think he dropped to an A a couple times and went back up to an S. Playing with Ace as a teammate and getting S every game, I can see it. But subbing for any team, I know he subbed for Genji a lot. I'm not sure who else he subbed for, but to play
He's
that
played
many,
37 games.
yeah, to play that many games and to still maintain your grade, that's impressive, I would say. So
Yeah, it definitely is, because for people who don't know, like the more games you play, the more accurate your grade is supposed to be. I think that's how it's supposed to be. I'd have to ask Ace Spence to actually confirm that, but I'm like 99% sure that's how it's supposed to be. So, like, having played 37 games when this season, I think the amount you're supposed to play is 22. No, that's an extra 15 games. That's pretty much a whole season, or close to a whole season, full of stats. Like, to have that consistently be that good and get an S is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've always thought of Ace and Zim as a duo, not just Ace carrying the team. I know he gets a lot of the fame, I guess, but I would definitely claim it more of a duo work.
yeah, for sure. On the other side of the bracket, we got Puffy Griff, so we don't have to say it again, against Crazy Guys. I don't know. I don't know if this will end up being a 3-game series. Uh,
Yeah, I think this is a 2-0.
I think so
still.
too. It's really hard to do it, but I guess not since my fingers are writing it down. It's just Crazy Guys have had such good chemistry all season. Puffy Grip, they're a really good team, very strong tanking. So I think if they can flip it around and get an upset, I think that's their key they got to start on. That they have to out tank Crazy Guys. I think that's probably the only chance any team has against them is just a flat-out tank, because it doesn't matter how good or well-rounded or how many playmakers you got on your team. If you're getting tanked up against your back wall, you ain't doing shit.
I think it's probably a really close series. I think honestly it's probably 5-3, 5-4 the entire time. But I think the end is just, their crazy guys so good that, they just went out. I have more faith in them than I do in Infection's team.
I'll actually take Puffy in a 3-game series.
A first upset.
I mean, I feel like if any team matches up against crazy guys, it's gonna be Puffy, with how strong their tanking line can be if
They're all playing well.
Infection and Hells are operating at peak.
Yeah, I could see it being possible if their Ace Spence is having an off game and they just can't get anything going killing. If they just control Spank's just having a monster game and just can't be touched, because he can do that. But
and Aware's not exactly a slouch either.
No, and I considered all that. I just think, like I said, I don't know if they've been playing a lot together this season. I just don't think there'll be close games with mine. But it's good for you to pick an upset. Somebody had to.
Eventually.
My brain is just too logical. It's hard for me to pick upsets.
Do we go to the finals now?
Yeah, if you want to.
Well,
I mean, might as well.
I mean, yes, since we came this far. We would have Postscript Depresh versus Crazy Guys. Honestly, I would expect this to go... Did you guys split the series? Who won when you played them?
They beat us both times.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's probably going to go to a 3-game series. And I think they'll still win, but I think it'll be really incredibly close.
We played early in the season and they beat us, and when we played them later in the season, we couldn't get a fourth player. So we started the game 3v4 being down 3-0. But we scored a goal.
That's something.
We scored a goal, so we were like, woo, we win. But,
I'll take that as a win.
It was unfortunate because Gambit was supposed to sub for us, Rain, Wimpy Deer, whatever. He was supposed to sub with us, and the times kind of got mixed up. It was just unfortunate happenstance that he had to leave. He was there when Spence couldn't play, and then when Spence came back, he had to play in his game. So it just sucks. Things like that will happen. But as far as I think of how the series is gonna go, it's really hard for me to say that we're not gonna win. But I feel like it's probably gonna be 2-1 Crazy Guys.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way.
It's just I want to win. Obviously, I hope to win, but I ain't gonna curse us by saying we're gonna win the ship. I'm not gonna put that on my team. No. It'd be a hell of a series, though. I'll say that.
I think roster-wise, they have you beat in depth, but you have the better player. Because I still think, even though Ace Spence is like the highest grade player, I think Ace is still better.
If you average out all the grades, it's about the same. I think they have Spence, and then Tommy is an A, I think. Tommy's an A, Grunt's a C, and Smurf is an F. And then we have 2 S's and 2 E's. No, we have an E and an F. So it's basically the same thing.
Spence is an S+, Ace is an S+. Tommy is a B-.
Okay, so I guess it's not as close as I thought.
And Zim's an S-, so 2-letter grade difference. Where?
Yeah, and Grunt's a C, I know, and I'm an E, and Trespass is an F.
Yeah, so I guess we want to say the little outlier there is, I guess, Smurf is the worst player on that team. But I think, Grunt, Tommy, and Ace Spence's, chemistry, and just, I think it works a little bit better. So I think they overall probably win.
Yeah, I mean, if Crazy Guys makes it to the finals against Postgriff, I think Crazy Guys wins in a 5-game series. I think
you're right. It is a 5-game series.
I thought it was a 3-game series.
No, he's right. It is a 5-game series. Evil schooling our asses. Wow. Okay, well, it looks like we got to rewind a little bit.
I just remembered.
No, you
honestly, if it goes 5 games, I might actually pick.
Yeah, We just got schooled.
Yeah, I feel like Crazy Guys in a 5-game series just is going to win in 5 for sure. 4 or
Yes,
5.
I'll say probably 5 because I think if they probably trade wins in the beginning, but I think they just went out in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think either way it's going to probably go to 5 games. Last chip was a 3-game sweep. They didn't even play They didn't even play a fourth game. It was 3 wins and done. So yeah. Either way, it should be an exciting playoff bracket, and I'm sure everyone will be looking forward to the streams. So man, we are already at an hour runtime, and we still got some stuff we got to go through.
I was gonna say we're running pretty late. It's gonna be an extra long episode.
It's all right. It just takes more time to get it ready, but it's no big deal. So that was going to be the biggest part anyway, the playoff bracket and predictions. And the next thing I got up is Evil's captain shoutouts and discussion. So Evil, this is all you. You say what you want to say or what you got to say, and then we'll just roll off of that. Whatever you got for this segment.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to give all the captains a shout out, at least the ones that uh, were actively captaining their teams. Scullin, um, uh, guys like Novice, Pop Tart, Genji, Ducky, Death, KD, um, Zim taking over after Demar. Um, just everyone really stepping up and um, just doing their best to get us through the season and being as courteous as possible. I know we had some drama, but we got through it. I know some people didn't really want to do it, and the main thing I've been trying to do is try to figure out a way to make being a captain more enjoyable for people. Because like I know there's several pain points, and I've just been trying to find a way to relieve them in some fashion, so we can have more people captain that may want to do it and don't necessarily enjoy some of it right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's always so hard to get a good pool of captains in. Really, you want more people to sign up to be a captain than you select, because then you get a filtering process of who you want based on what they played and all that. But it's playing the game is fun. Obviously, this is why we're here. It's just reschedules and setting up and sandbagging to make sure somebody else isn't on when you're on, so you can get a forfeit. It's just the shadiness of it that I think people don't like, and I agree with you. I wish there was a way to make it a little bit more to where people would want to sign up, a little bit more appealing, I guess. For
You could pay them.
yes,
That's
I bet.
one way.
That's yeah. I guess money talks. I guess you couldn't really lose with that, but I don't know. Maybe some kind of appointed co-captain on your team. Somebody steps up. Some kind of ambassador that helps get game scheduled, helps it along. I don't
I
know.
was gonna say, I think the thing that for me, I've captained a bunch of times. So I'd say the most painful thing is just scheduling, because it's such a nightmare. And obviously, we'll probably get into it later, but just how the drama's been with getting scheduling down in forfeits. No one wants to get forfeited. Yeah, no one wants that really. And it's just it can be a pain in the ass sometimes to get it all to work and then get your team on, and then play the game. It's just a painful experience. Maybe there's someone can figure out a way to make it less painful, but who knows?
Yeah, I've been trying to come up with ways. I've posted a couple of my thoughts that got kind of immediately shot down from discussion by men's.
Well, men's is men's. He's more of a he's more of a mod, I'd say, than an actual admin, but he's still an admin. Men's, if you're listening, fuck you. He gets it.
It's Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tart said he's fucking shit.
But yeah, this is all good points you bring up. I hope we can get a good pool of captains next season, because the argument always is you want the lower skill players to sign up as captain, but that doesn't really work well with draft, because draft order. You could have a bunch of new captains and somebody has to be first, just like somebody has to be second, third, fourth, and fifth. It's just if you have a bunch of players, who do you put first over another new player? It's never going to be a perfect scenario. Captains suck. Captaining sucks, and usually the best captains are the ones that hate it the most. And
That's
in
from
my
my experience. I'd say that.
yeah, in my experience, the shitty captains are the ones that do it all the time and have no problem with it because they don't do a great job. And the good captains are the ones that hate it because they put in effort into it. And they know they're probably putting in all that effort for nothing. And I think that's what's admirable by most people is wasted effort.
I think probably hopefully we can make it more enticing. Like obviously, like I said, paying people, but I think we have to figure out something to get I don't know how to explain it, but get the worst players to captain, if that makes sense, and get the better players to go back in the pool. Because obviously you don't want to have all these Gingy this season where Gingy didn't really want a captain, but captain because we needed them, and unfortunately we lost him in the pool and he didn't make the playoffs. So we kind of hoped that you get the worst players to captain. We could have the pool even out better, so we have a more competitive season and things will actually work out.
Yeah, I mean, look at Novice. Novice didn't want to captain this season because of last season. Novice was captain this season.
I mean, he got more forced into it because his captain decided to give him the captain duties. So
yeah, but that's what I mean. He can't avoid it, so he might as well just turn out to be a captain.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, he can't escape it either way. But it's up to him. I'm curious to see what he'll do next season, whether he'll captain or be in the pool. But
Yeah, that was part of the reason why I was trying to think of something to make it easier on people to captain, so that way we can even out the pool more, because our captains this season weren't terrible, gap wise. If you removed a few outliers at the top, like Shrek, Gingy, and maybe Dylan, and Infection, was that 4? Take them 4 out and replace them with anybody in the bottom half of the grades, and I feel like it's much more balanced.
yeah, I still feel there was some really even teams this season. It sucks that somebody has to lose for the other people to win. There's a lot of good solid teams on paper. I feel like a lot of captains drafted well. Shrek didn't even know if he wanted to captain, and he ended up with one of the best teams. So a lot of times the people that don't want to do it are the ones that are going to do the best job at it. But yeah, next thing I got here is stat leaderboards. Now I'm not going to take too long on this part. I just wanted to kind of read over some stats from the leaderboard thanks to Mav that he was able to make. So the first thing I got that I wanted to do was KD ratio. I think last time I did spread, but ratio is a little bit better as an average, and it's a little bit easier for the disparity between games played. So, and fifth place we have our very own Mav right here, and you ended up with a 1.2 ratio. Fourth place was Papa Snipes, 1.24. Then third place was A Spence with 1.31. Second place was Shrek with 1.42. And you already know who number 1 is. You know who
Gotta
number
be
1
Ace.
is? Yes.
I was gonna say it's Ace.
Ace, 1.62. And the only
0.20 difference.
Yeah, 1.62. And the only other top 5 I have right here, because I thought it was an interesting one to do because I didn't do one like this last time, is average life. That's also another one where it doesn't really matter games played. You're going to get a pretty good spread. So number 5, and this is crazy because of what we just said. The 5th best average life in the league is HP Silent, who also has the best spread in the league. How? How is that even possible? Like 4th place.
Honestly, I would think he have the highest since he has like the highest KD spread.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But to get that many kills and still stay alive that long, that's insane.
It's crazy.
Number 4 is Hell's Angels, also with 19. Number 3 is Command Station with 21, but they didn't play a lot of games. Number 2 is KD Skill with 21. And number 1 is Shrek with 22 for average life. I don't really know how that's
Calculated.
Yeah, calculated. But another thing, and even though it is top 5, I got to give shout out to Evil here because he's number 6 at 18. So there you go, buddy. I got you.
Woo!
Woo, go me.
Hey, I know how to stay alive.
I'm good at
Just can't
backpedaling.
get kills.
And then the other 3 quick notes I have here is the league leader in pancakes was Hell's Angels with 14. And I know she did sub a lot of games, but still, 14 kills with a repulsor. That's pretty good. Harpoons, Aware had 34, and he also subbed in a lot of games. I suppose all 3 of these subbed a lot of games. And then finally, Killjoys, where Grunt had 24. And Killjoy might not be a big grade weight, but it is big to get someone who's on a tear or a spree coming down your court and kill them off to stop a push. So I do feel it's a pretty important medal. But yeah, that's all I got. And now we're moving on to Mavs Awards. So if you haven't voted for them yet, go ahead and go vote. It's more of an individual award type of deal.
I think at the moment we have like 24 votes. I haven't checked in like probably the whole day.
Yeah, I voted right away.
I was gonna say, hopefully people vote. I think, yes. Right now we have 24 votes. Hopefully we can get those up. I mean, obviously 24 votes is still a decent amount, but we'd maybe go for a little bit more, because I think we still have like another. Obviously, we don't know when the finals is gonna happen, but probably have like another 2-3 weeks before the finals start. So hopefully we get more people.
Yeah, I voted right away.
I appreciate that.
And that's definitely will be one. That's definitely content that will give shout outs to singular players in the league for being number 1, an outright winner, you could say. And the next thing I have is top 25 content that I'm working on. This is actually something Evil came up with a long time ago, and other people worked on it. So essentially, I'm getting ranks from players around the community to rank their top 25 players, however they want, whatever they want to weigh it by, and send it to me. And I'm averaging out the ranks, and then ranking the top 25, and then doing a little write-up on each player. I've already got 8 lists in, so if you want to send me a list, go ahead. I'll go ahead and factor it in. And even though I haven't got all the lists yet, it's already looking really good for a top 25 list.
Yeah, I love these type of lists. I got inspiration from this by the NFL Top 100 list back in the day, and I felt like in bringing it to Grifball to involve everyone who plays during the season to see if could just get the player's opinion and put it into a list and like see what happens. That I think I got pretty good reception from it initially. People enjoyed it, so I'm glad to see it's still around.
Hopefully people enjoy it now.
I just think it's a really good way to do an article or rankings or bias, or without bias, I should say. And because we all know that this community can be a popularity contest at times, so it's just a way to get an average rank out of a bunch of different people with different viewpoints on who. I mean, the top 5 players are almost consensus, like me and Matt were talking about earlier. The top 5 or 6, it's pretty easy to pick those, but like once you get to like 7 and 8, and later after that, it gets really hard to rank people where you think they should be. So.
I think after 10 for me, I sort of just started putting names up there, like, because it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, I feel like it gets really subjective at a point. For me, it was hard after like about 10.
Well, the next thing we got here is just touching on all of the juiciness that we had over the past week or so. Mav was involved, Infection was involved somewhat, and I just think, as unfortunate as it is, it's good to see the admins being more open-minded about things and wanting to work with people, like with the playoff scheduling and some of the other stuff. I just think it'll all be good and productive and just help next season be bigger and better and help things going forward.
Clearly, something that doesn't need to be changed is the scheduling, because with the forfeit stuff that's happened and those captains involved losing their minds and players being upset about it, clearly something has to be done about that, because it's gone to the point where it doesn't work. To my understanding, Gingy had agreed to a time with Ducky, and Gingy, I guess, forgot about it in a way, because it wasn't like officially put on the schedule, even though realistically we really shouldn't have to remind you. And because of that, the admins gave us the forfeit wins because of it, and it seems to be sort of like a hot button issue where people thought we should have played our game out, even though technically that time period was over with. I don't know, like I was gone for when those happened, so I was not really aware of much. I guess I don't know, you two were there, weren't you? Maybe you can give better explanation than I can.
Well, I think it was a thing where, I mean, some teams are always going to get screwed over in some kind of way, and I think Ducky probably would have been willing to play them if you were around. Since they were using subs, I think he just didn't want to play without you because you're their star player. And I guess I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He didn't really want to use a sub. He wanted to use you. I'm not sure. I mean, we could go back and forth all day and say and try to place blame on either side. Either way, someone's going to get screwed, and it's really all about who puts in more effort than the other person or the other team. And it's just so unfortunate that those last few playoff spots were just decided by literally one game. That's how close it was. Now, you could win games earlier in the season or play more, practice more to get that win that you needed. It just sucks that it had to end that way. It's like you said, nobody wants to have to double forfeit or trade
No one wants
forfeits
it.
and all
It's
that.
not fun for the game. You're gonna have things like these happen if it does happen.
Yeah, the whole point of this league and community is to play, not to sit in a lobby and yell at each other until we get a forfeit. People are here to play and have a good time, because lobby warrioring isn't very fun. Not always.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I thought maybe that Ace Spence and the other admins would at least give like to the end of day Sunday to play the games, but apparently they didn't want to wait.
I also think they kind of expected playoffs to start this week. They might anyways, but like I think they just wanted to have it done with, thinking games are going to happen quickly and not have to, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but just sort of just have things done quickly instead of having it last on forever.
Yeah, just doing it in a timely manner, and that's just the way Spence sets things up, and it's worked really well. I do like the strict scheduling and not wasting your time getting on, wondering if you have a game or not, only to find out that just somebody's not showing. There's I do like that. I do like that aspect of it, and I hope the scheduling doesn't change a lot. I just think teams need a little help from being reminded. And should they? No. My captain should get their team on and do all that, but we all know how it is.
There needs to be more communication.
Yeah, a lot of times people aren't going to be reminded or remember to do something unless you tell them. Especially in the Grifball community, we know people don't read the rules or do any of that shit. But I do want to give a small shout out to Gingy's team, because they really came from the bottom and damn near made the playoffs.
Yeah, I
in
was
2
a bit
days.
shocked when I saw them winning all these games.
They probably went from thinking they had zero chance at all to being motivated for the first time of the season, only to have it, crush at the end.
Unfortunately, end.
But it's like I said, the season was already over. It was already, it was already past the day that they said it was going to be over. I say y'all should have just played the game for bragging rights. 2 games. Wouldn't have counted on the schedule or nothing. We made sure it wouldn't have. I would have still liked to see y'all play them games.
Again, that's not up to me. It's more of up to admins and Ducky and Gigi. But
Oh,
I didn't really care what happened. I mean, I was away, like, so I asked beforehand if we had any games, and I was told no, because I just, the games were scheduled. I think Gingy may have asked us, like, Friday night at, like, 10 o'clock, but all of us were gone. So, like, by the time the game was supposed to get played, none of us were around, which is the unfortunate part.
Yeah, I can understand their frustration there, but I feel like just how their season started, going start 3-10 and then having to dig themselves up out of that for it to end the way it did is definitely frustrating. Um, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Holy shit.
All good. We have editing for a reason.
yeah, they had some opportunities to get some wins here and there. I know he's not happy about it. I know he said to me he's not going to sign up next season, but I still hope he does, and some others, because we want more people to sign up and play. That's the whole point of it. But somebody's got to get screwed over, and somebody's got to lose for others to win. It just sucks because everybody can't make playoffs, and it's not special, you know. But
Hopefully, you can just sleep it off.
Yeah, I hope it all. We've had some struggles, and it'll make it to where the rules are redone in the off season. I hope, and things will get more smoothed over and polished after all the stuff that's happened this season. It's only going to mean for good things, I think, and growth. I just hope to see that for next season for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Then the next thing I got, which is basically the last thing we got, is the talks about new roles and some admin team additions and people getting moved around. I know I had suggested, obviously I've been on the Map for Admin campaign for a while, but I've also suggested community leader roles, stuff like that. So where people who aren't admin, don't want to be, but they're very involved in the community, someone can see that role and be new and message them and know that they're going to be active in the community, know that they would be able to answer questions and whatnot. But giving roles to me isn't the important part. For me, it's taking the roles away from people who aren't active and giving them to the people that are active for a time. Like, I don't mind having a role stripped for me if I'm not doing nothing, or if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. Take it away. Give it to somebody that will. We just got to recognize people as much as we can to keep them motivated.
I was gonna say, because there has to be, like, I guess some people might not want a reward but, like, for me personally, it's just I sometimes get a little unmotivated because I'll have to constantly, ask people, like, Ace Bents. Like, I don't like asking Ace Bents, like, hey, can you do this for me? Because I don't have the permission or don't have, like, the role or the power to do this, which is kind of frustrating because I prefer to do things by myself and not ask other people. I guess you could say that's a downside of me, but also not. But, like, I think there has to be some sort of reward system in a way. I don't like that's not like the best way of putting it, but have like something be given to keep them active, give them like a responsibility. If that makes sense.
I mean, I agree with NOPLEX for sure. Like making sure people that the people that are in that have the roles are active in the community. It's not about necessarily specific people. It's just getting the people out that aren't active and getting more active hands to help around with stuff, and people that are being creative in creating things for the community to enjoy. Because like that's the stuff that will help us throughout, you know, dry spouts or throughout the off seasons and stuff, keeping the community interactive and doing things.
Yeah, you make a good point, Mav. It's just the way things have always been. Someone comes in, they're active in the community, it's noticed, they get a role for it, and just like you said, not everybody has to do something to pursue a role. People can do it without an admin role. Pop Tart has said it too. It's usually more freeing to do work without a role because you don't have restrictions of what you can and can't do. But it's just the way all things have always been. Someone comes in, they're influential, you give them a role, they help out. Whenever they don't want to help out anymore, you take the role and give it to somebody else. This is the way the admin team has been for, what, 12 years or more? For the most part. But that's the way it's supposed to be, really. But I still think there's change coming. And
Hopefully.
complaining this season, like a lot of people have done, that's what starts to change and makes things improve, because nothing is going to get improved if nobody complains about there's a problem. A problem can't be solved unless it's known. That's just the way I feel about it. But I'm not sure who all they're going to get in. There's been talks about who they want to get in, but I say we go right to outro and shout outs. We're like an hour and a half in, so we need to.
I was going to say we're almost.
We got to wrap it up. But
Call it the marathon cast.
I just wanted to thank Mav for doing this project with me, and always collabing with me on ideas and brainstorming. Shout out to Evil for being a guest, and yeah, shout out to the admins. Shout out to the admins for keeping the league running, even if you get shit or you don't get shit. Still here, and that means improvement can be made. And yeah, that's all I got really. So, anything y'all want to say?
I mean, I got nothing else except for just please go vote for the awards. That's about it for me.
Vote for the awards, you bastards.
Yeah, vote for the awards, you bastards.
Shout out to Fancy, TJ, and Ray for carrying me all season.
Don't lie, you know you did the carrying. It's a necessary evil after all. Hugh. Had to get one.
Yeah, someone had to carry Fancy's massive balls.
So that's why his pants are so fancy. He's got to have something special sewn into him.
Special cup size.
But yeah, thanks again for joining me on this. And we'll be back for a post-championship special edition, which I'll be having the captain and whatever teammates want to join on to hoot and holler and whatever they want to do. But until next time, see you guys later, and see you on the court.